Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and today I'm doing the Swirly Squigles card, and this is a stamp set here, and you can make all sorts of things. Now when I've finished the card for today, I'm going to share with you some other cards that I made to show you further examples. But this one that I'm using or demonstrating for you today looks very understated and very stylish, and is very simple to make because it gets combined with the coordinating Swirly Squigles Thinlits dies. So you will need your Big Shot out. But first of all, we need to create the background. So for that, I need to tell you what products you need today. And I don't know if I actually introduced myself today. There's all sorts of things going on. There's people trimming hedges and goodness knows what. So I'm Kim Tolton, if I haven't already said it. Right, the card base we're using for the card base today, we're using mint macaron. So this has been trimmed 30 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres and then scored through the middle here at 14.8 centimetres. Fold so that the unsightly ridge is on the inside, and then use your bone folder just to burnish that fold and pop it. No, we don't want to pop it away because we'll be stamping on it. You also need a very small strip of Whisper White, just regular Whisper White cardstock, for which we're going to be doing the sentiment at the top. And then you also need some scraps of mint macaron and Dapper Denim. Dapper Denim is in the new in colours and mint macaron the old ones. For your sentiment, you want that strip of cardstock to be 3 centimetres by 3.3 centimetres, and then you just want some scraps of Whisper White so that we can stamp the little flowers at the end. And this was just out as it was hanging around. We're not using it though. So the first thing to do is actually stamp your background, create the background. And in this stamp set, what I love is there are stamps that are quite bold, and there's very fine stamps, and they all work together really well, and I've had great fun playing with them, and I've tried to give you as much variation in the 4 cards as possible, but today I'm just demonstrating this one. So the stamp set that we're going to use to create the background is going to be mint macaron. So we're going for tone on tone here. Look, my ink pad's falling apart. Start with the, I'll sort that out afterwards. Start with this very large stamp that doesn't have a great deal of definition. I'm just going to check, yeah, it is the right one. I wanted to check it is the right one because some of them look incredibly similar, and it can be difficult to tell. So you just want to stamp, randomly stamp, and stamping off the page so that you're getting these random images. And you just want a few of these over the card base, nice and randomly, as I say. And just using 1st, 2nd and 3rd generation Stampin', just so we sort of get almost watermarky like images coming in there as well, and overlapping some. There we go, and that's sufficient there. We're using the same ink pad for the next stamp, which is the middle size stamp in the set that's got these swirls, and you're going to be again using mint macaron, and you're going to completely and randomly cover and go over the top, so you're going over the top of the stamps all the time, and it's going to create a very unique, and I'm turning the card as I go so that you're keeping that randomness, and if there's any holes just fill them in, but do go over so you're getting texture on texture, and it's that beautiful tone on tone that you're left with. And I probably won't be able to close my ink pad now. I'm not going to show you because I always get in such a terrible inky mess. No, I'm not going to. It does click back in quite easily, but it does make an inky mess and I don't want to get it on the project. Right, so that's the basic background. Whilst we're stamping, the other stamp set that I'm using is the One Big Meaning, and it's one of the stamp sets that's rolled over from the old catalogue, and I just think it's really versatile, and the sizes of the sentiments allow you to do quite large cards with bold sentiments and then other quite small and fine ones, and I use it an awful lot in my sort of for my personal cards for customers and family and friends. Right, I'm going to be stamping the sentiment in Dapper Denim, which is the new in colours. I'm just doing that down onto that piece of Whisper White cardstock, and we're going to pop that up there. And before I put it away, I just need a few of the little flowers, and they are teensy little things, look, really tiny little things, and I just want a couple of those just to give a little element on that header when we've finished. There you go. And that one can go away. Right, so before we get cutting, let's just fussy cut round these little flowers and pop them to one side. Nice and quick, you don't have to be too particular with it because they're very sketched flowers. Very in keeping with the stamp set, which is all swirls, and but what I love is there's stamps that allow you to make kites, flags. There's 24 photopolymer stamps in the set. There's even little splatter ones as well, so you can create all sorts of funky backgrounds and all sorts of funky cards, and they can be male or female or children orientated. And remember that when you're cutting by hand, you just want to rotate the cardstock and not the scissors, and just leave about 1 millimetre around the edge just to help the image stand out. You do want to give yourself a bit of a tab that you can hold on to because these are tiny, and it would be quite difficult to do if you didn't have something for your fingers to take purchase on. I think this is one of those stamp sets that you could have hidden away. Perfect for those short notice cards, because as you will see when I've finished, you can adapt them really quite easily and quite different looks. And I've just used box standard rubber stamping techniques, but you could take it to a completely different level if you decided to do heat embossing or of little techniques. Right, I'm going to pop those to one side. We can pop this straight down on here, and you don't want it to go right to the top, you want to leave a little bit there. I'm just wondering, thinking on my feet here. No, I'm going to put that on afterwards, just in case my die cuts come beneath it. Right, so Swirly Squigles. Put that there. And here are those dies. We're going to be using these two swirly ones. But in here also, actually, I think I used that one. I think it will be that one and that one. And you can see there are little dies for that flower. There's little leaves and little funky circles in there as auxiliary ones. But this is the one I like, so you can do C, you can do all sorts of things with it. And I'm really looking for it. I have had a play with this already, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to using it. I was quite reserved when it came to ordering this stamp set, because I wasn't sure it was for me, and then bought it and thought, okay, it's a lot more versatile than I thought. Right, so we've got our dies there. I'm going to bring the big shot up. And we want our cardstock for cutting. And start with denim, I think. And I've just found that there's a little bit of paper stuck in there from when I did it before. Just pop. It's probably because there's bits of adhesive on there. If you pop your paper piercing tool into that void and give it a little poke, and it will come out. No problem. Okay, so let's go. We're going to do actually I'm going to use another size as well. Sorry, this is what happens to me. I do all the prep and then I think, no, I think I need to do something else. I'm going to use all three of these swirly ones. Okay, so the sandwich is multi-purpose platform, or as I have here, you can hear the magnetic platform. And then you pop your bottom acrylic cutting plate, then your cardstock, then your dies face down, then on goes your second cutting plate, and it goes through, just so. You'll find that the middles will come out, and if you just give a gentle tug, you'll find that they all come out, and then there's all these extra little bits that fall out, which I suppose you could use if you wanted to. If you're somebody who's into punchy art and using up the really fine little bits and pieces. So that's one there. Bin closer. And we've got this one here, which looks like it's come out of its own accord. So again, you just want to poke out all those extra little bits from the die cut, and they come out really easy. They're they cut through really well. And there's a new platform out now for the big shot. Because Stampin' Up is now doing mostly framelits and thinlits rather than the old big dies, which makes sense because I think the die cutting machines have become much more available now, and Stampin' Up obviously have their own little big shot that they do with Sizzix. Right, last one is Night of Navy. It's going to be that largest die. Where's my top acrylic plate? Probably in there. Yeah, I'm trying to put 2 acrylic plates on. Right, there we go. Back through. I'm so sorry, you must be used to me now. I'm always muttering to myself. I'm sure I'm not the only person here that does it. And look, I did the smaller size, so I'll do a large one as well now. Little bits of Dapper Denim. If you tap the die on the side of the plate over the table, it does help to release the dies from the card from the die. Oh, there we go. There's a large one. So you just want to take those bits out. And yeah, there is a larger one, which I think, yeah, let's go with a large one as well. If it will fit on there, might not fit. See what we do. So you're going to need the fine tip glue pen. So same sandwich for all of them. I love it when dies are new because of the adhesive on them. You'd stick to the cutting plates. Right, shot can go down now. Just take this out and see all the little bits coming through, so it does cut really nicely. There you go. Right, so fine tip glue pen now. Here we go. Now the thing with the fine tip glue pen is a very light hand. If you go too heavy handed, you'll end up with a nasty gluey mess. A nice light hand, so not too much adhesive at all, and you'll find that things will work just hunky-dory. Just see, there's another bit there. And I think these two colours work together really, really well. Right, so all I need to do is decide where I'm going to pop my die cuts. I quite like them when they overlap. I think they look quite funky. I think something like that will work just fine. So just work one at a time, and I find do the small ones first and then you can build the others around it. And just find a little area that you can hold on to and just apply, as I say, very, very small amounts of adhesive to the pieces of cardstock, and just be mindful that you're not accidentally getting the glue through the other side. And that's all that's needed on that one. Pop that one down. And we'll do this one. And you've got little bits like these little sticky outy bits which are a great place to just pop some of the adhesive. I've probably got my tongue hanging out right now because I'm concentrating. That's that one. Down that one goes. And then we'll do this big loopy one. It's amazing how I've gone from seeing dies develop over the years. I grew up with my dad, who was a printer. We used to make up blocks, and they all consisted of individual characters in different fonts that were in big printer trays. And I used to help my dad with his hand treadle, or it was not hand press, but treadle press he had. And that's kind of how I grew up. And then I watched the dies coming in, and dies tended to be just like the Bigs dies from Sizzix now, where they're big, cumbersome, do take up. I've got a huge collection of dies, and as I say, they take up space, they're heavy, so you can't just put them on a standard shelf because the shelf would just collapse. And now we're down to these tiny little Thinlits dies that are so detailed. Right, and just over that, lap that one over there. So on this one I've used 3 dies, and on this one I've used 4. That's the only difference. And then the last bits are so quick and simple. So we're just going to pop these up here with Stampin' Dimensionals, just to give a little bit of lift, because obviously most of it is quite one-dimensional. And this is why I decided in the end to put the label on afterwards, because I wanted to be able to get those dies up and behind the header there. And then we want my little flowers. Now you could use the precision plate if you wanted to for die cutting these dies, but these tiny little flowers don't do well in the precision plate, So you just use those with your magnetic plate or your multi-purpose platform. So those are on there. Now you must put your header, your cap back on your fine tip glue pen, otherwise it will all clog up and then you won't be able to use it and it's wasted. And then the last little job is a couple of nice tiny rhinestones just to go in those flowers there. And that is today's card. So you can see that was really quick and simple to put together. And I've just used a different thank you, different sentiment, and we've used different combinations of the dies there. Now the other cards that I made, just to show you how diverse the stamp set can be. I have some more cards here that I made using this stamp set. So with this one, I've used what is like a splatter splodgy type of stamp. And I did it in 1st, 4th generation stamping with the Dapper Denim. And then I overstamped with mint macaron. And it almost gives like a dimension to it. And I've just finished it off with some mint macaron ribbon. This is one of the new ribbons from Stampin' Up. So that's really simple, and I've done that onto Flirty Flamingo cardstock, which I stamped with that little flower. So this stamp we used here, I've done the whole border around in tone on tone, just to create again a little bit more dimension to the card itself. This one just reminds me of a pack of fruit salad, which I loved when I was a child. Oh, I adored fruit salad chews. You still get them, I think. You can get them on those little lolly things as well. So in this one, I've obviously gone with all of the new in colours and the die cutting and the stamping for the sentiment I've done in that incredibly intense Emerald Envy ink pad. But we've got Sweet Sugar Plum here, we've got Peekaboo Pleach. I added in a little bit of Daffodil Delight just to bring in a bit of lightness with the yellow, and then stamped around the edge again with the Emerald Envy. And I've just put a few of the splatters in there for that one. This one would be perfect for a new baby. So the stamps allow you to create a boat. It could be a yacht, or it can be, you know, whatever you want it to be. This is how I did it. I've just used the Layering Squares framelits that are new to the Stampin' Up catalogue, and I just used a combination again of mint macaron and Dapper Denim. And then this border here is actually this sail stamp here, and I've just randomly stamped all the way around the cardstock with that before building the card up. And I've used banner framelits for both the little boat to stand up and introducing that contrast of the Flirty Flamingo that's in the little stamped flag at the top there. And then the last one to share with you, same stamp set for the sentiment that I've used today, or same stamp, and then I've used Dapper Denim, mint macaron. So I've used these swirls very similar to what I did in today's demonstration, but I've used quite a lot of these very tiny swirls that they've got in the stamp set, and then I've matte that onto a piece of mint macaron that's been dry embossed with the Lucky Stars stamp set. This again is matte onto Dapper Denim, so this could be for a child or a man even, and you could easily adapt that to say Father's Day. So there you go. So you've got 4 different, very different styles and very different card effects using exactly the same products. So there you are. Thank you for watching today. As always, there will be a link from my blog, link from my video through to my blog, and you can also click on the little eye icon on the top right of the video, and if you click on that card that pops up, it will take you straight through to today's project. And the same with the link from the actual video that's under the video itself. There's all my social media and contact me details in the show more section of today's video. And please do leave comments in the comment box. I love to hear from you all. See what you're up to. Tell me what cards you're making and what you think of the new in colours. Do you like them, or did you prefer the old ones? And you know, just get in touch, and I love to hear from you. You can also order all of the supplies used today through my online store. Again, the details for that are in the show more section of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And I should have said the full tutorial will be on my blog. So don't worry about all the sizings and everything. I will make sure all the correct sizes are up on my blog. All right, and I'll speak to you again soon. Ta-ta for now.